All right. So, hi, this is Karen Vasselbush, and we're going to be having a cooking class today. I'm a licensed massage therapist and Ayurvedic practitioner, and I also like to cook. So, I've got a couple things we're going to be making today from the perspective of Ayurveda, where we're always trying to balance the elements in our body, the doshas in our body, which are Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which comprise of space and air, fire and water, and earth and water. And those elements are moving in our body. We can feel them when we feel our pulse gently holding our wrist. We're not really counting like Western uh, perspective of pulse. We're actually feeling for qualities in the pulse. So food, of course, is our medicine. We take it in our body and it nourishes us and builds our body. So we're going to be making some sauces today. I'm going to show you how to make a really quick breakfast cereal for winter that is soft and moist. In wintertime, right now in New England, we're having a dry winter, not a lot of snow, but it's beginning to get cold. So those are the qualities of Vata, and Vata dosha is the moving dosha, the dosha that kind of pushes and moves around all the other elements in our body and can cause dryness in our system. Also, can create mental anxiety and uncomfortableness. And so we like to always ground ourselves in the winter. But before I get started, I want to show you a couple of things. In the wintertime, I've noticed recently, speaking of Vata, dryness, that my fingers are getting a little cracked. Ever noticed that your fingers get cracked? And clarified butter or ghee, you could use that on your hands also because it's an oil and it's good for you. There's also other products on the market that have ghee in them along with a nice aromas. This one has it's a ghee product. It has coconut oil, olive oil, beeswax, shatavari root, which is a very nourishing herb, ashwagandha also, and among other things. And it has rose geranium. So it has a really nice aroma. This product is from Banyan Botanicals, and it's hard, but you can use it for your cuticles and your hands. And when I'm cooking, my hands are in and out of water a lot. I like to have it around. It's really helpful. The other thing I want to show you in my kitchen, I've got a couple of plants. My daughter was visiting, and she brought us a basil plant, which is looking a little anemic. It's getting a little yellow, but I'm going to repot it. And basil is, in India, basil is considered a very pure plant. It's called sattvic. And they always recommend you have one in your house. It's supposed to create a lot of joy and happiness. And of course, if you eat basil, basil is an aromatic herb. Has a heating quality to it, and it's also quite pungent. So that's rustic. That's in my kitchen on my windowsill here. I'm facing the southeast, so that's why you get the bright light. You have the bright light behind me. I'm going to put my apron on. The other thing that I've discovered when I shop, when I get down to, I live above Portland, Maine. So when I get down to Portland, usually I do go to Whole Foods. And a couple of weeks ago, I was there, and they had some blood oranges, and I'm going to cut this one open for you and show you how gorgeous it is inside. They're so lovely. They're deep red, and they're delicious. I like to cut them up and eat them for breakfast in the morning. This one's been sitting out, so it's a little soft, which is fine. I wish I could transfer that smell to you. Because it's amazing. Of course, oranges are full of vitamin C. I like them. This almost reminds me of a pomegranate in color. It's just, I'm going to taste one. Just take a, Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's light. It's sweet. It has a really lot of nice qualities to it. So there's the orange. I may be cooking with those today. Actually, when you take and squeeze them out, they're red. So the juice is beautiful, beautiful red color. The other thing I was going to talk about was your knives, keeping your knives in good working order, sharpening them. We have a new sharpener we got. It really works well. You put the knife in and you run it through. And if you're worried about cutting your hand, or, you know, worried about being around a knife, it actually comes with a glove, which looks like one of the former pop singers' hand. So you can actually use that glove, you know, near when you're sharpening the knife, so you're not going to worry about cutting your hand. It's made with some kind of material that it's, you know, doesn't cut. So that's a handy thing to have. So you want to really have sharp knives also when you're working. So the first thing we're going to do is make a very simple breakfast cereal. Breakfast out of rolled oats, and I made this last night. This is, you know, it's in a mason jar, so you can shake it actually. And what you do is you take rolled oats. These are organic rolled oats. Now, rolled oats in and of themselves are pretty hard and dry, so that would have like a Vada quality. So we want to get them softer and more acceptable to balance out the dryness in the winter that could be in our physiology also. So this calls for a third of a cup. I'm looking for my third cup measure, but I don't have it. Okay. Yeah. Calls for about a third of a cup of oats. Not that much. Maybe a little more. I'm using a quarter cup measure. You know, you could even grind these and make them smaller if you wanted to make this a quick breakfast. You could take your oats with a dedicated spice grinder. I happen to have one over here. And you can take and pulse these quickly. So I think I may do that. Just for why not? So I'm gonna, oh, I had some fenugreek in there. I'm gonna wipe out the grinder. It's not completely clean. Yep. Not that fenugreek wouldn't be bad to have in a cereal. I'm sure it would be fine, but I'm gonna just keep it simple. So I'm gonna put the oatmeal in the grinder. Maybe do it twice because I think it's gonna get a little full. So I'll put that in here. And those of you who have watched me before, my grinder had a little had a tab on it. The tab is gone, so I put a little sharp implement in there to get it to work. I put a little pair of scissors, and I'm just going to grind that up so it's a little softer. It's more like a flour. And I'm still going to use the. You see, I've changed the texture. So I'll do a little more, maybe a few more pulses of this. So this could be a faster cereal. What I do is I usually let this sit overnight, and then by the morning it's ready to eat. But let's just get this ground up. I thought I'd just try an experiment. I have never ground it before and done it with ground, but why not? Try to make it quicker. You can get quick oats, of course, ground. I do recommend you get organic oats. We're lucky enough to have them in, I believe these are from Canada, so it's a neighboring country. Yep, they're a product of Canada. So I'm just going to take these oats and I'm just going to put them in my mason jar. Great. That aside. Just out of the way. And then I'm going to use some dried fruit. Where did I put my dried fruit? Oh, here it is. I'm going to use 3 figs. That's all you need. These are also organic. They're Turkish figs. So I'm going to use 3 figs. Cut them up. Usually I take off the top. It's a little bit rough, the little stem. So I take off the stem. Have you ever had fresh figs? In 2016, I went to visit my daughter who lives in San Francisco, and we went to a farmer's market and we bought a box of fresh figs, which is really, truly an interesting experience. They're not as sweet as the dried because it's sugar concentrates after the fruit gets dried, but they're quite extraordinary. And of course, you can cook with them. So I'm just cutting these up, kind of slicing them a little bit so they'll meld with the rest of the ingredients. So they're quite sticky. You know, that's going to add a stickiness and a little heaviness to this dish, which is breakfast, which is good. Now, sometimes I like to add a little bit of ginger to this. And yes, it's going to be sliced ginger. You may not want to eat it, but it will add flavor. It'll soak in with the rest of the ingredients. But you know, you can eat it. Of course, ginger root's really excellent for the digestion. When you wake up in the morning, if you're not feeling particularly hungry, even after a few hours, making ginger tea from fresh ginger root is a very good thing for the digestion, to stoke the fires of digestion. In Ayurveda, they talk about the Agnis of the body, and of course, Jatha Agni is the digestive fire. So I'm adding those together, and then I'm going to add a little cinnamon, which is another heating spice. I'm just guesstimating about 1/4 of a cup. Now, along with that heat, I want to get a little bit of soothing spice, a cooling spice. So I'm going to come over here to my spice. I have a dedicated spice box that has all my spices in it. I change it up seasonally. So for winter season, I have cardamom. And what I do is I buy the cardamom seeds and grind them so that the spice is very, very fresh. So I'm just going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon in there. These are 1/4 teaspoons, these little spoons. So I'm just kind of, again, putting in a little bit. Then I am going to add a very small amount of organic vanilla extract. I just think it gives it a nice flavor. Add that. Again, it's about 1/8 of a teaspoon, really not even 1/4. Now the magic part is when we add a nut milk. So I'm going to go get my nut milk. I have almond milk. And I'm going to put 1/2 cup of almond milk in there. Now this almond milk is the original type of this brand, so it does have a little bit of sweetener already in it. Even so, I may put a very small amount of pure Maine maple syrup. So I'm just going to put 1/2 teaspoon of maple syrup or less. Mix that. Now you might wonder, should I add nuts to this? I would say probably not, because nuts don't really soften up very much and they're pretty hard. So I would probably not advise it, but you could try it if you like. Other symptoms of dryness internally can be if we're feeling bloated, gassy, or even a constipation is a sign that the body's out of balance. So we need to nourish ourselves with warmer, moist foods. So I put the cap on it, mason jar cap, and I just shake it just to get all the ingredients mixed up. And I'm going to probably refrigerate this overnight, but this is what you can have in the morning, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, because this one's been sitting in the, let me go out and get a dish. This one's been sitting in the fridge overnight, but I wanted to give you an example of what it would look like. I'm taking a teaspoon, put it in the dish. And there it is. So it's a cereal. It's a little bit, it's very soft. And so the figs have gotten soft. Everything is kind of soft and blended. So that's the morning breakfast cereal. It's if you're in a hurry, or you're looking for something, you have to get out the door, then that's something nice to prepare overnight for sure. This breakfast cereal here. So let me just take a moment and just clean off one of my cutting boards. I dedicate my cutting boards to different things. Like with this wooden cutting board, we cut fruit with it, maybe bread, but we don't cut pungent things like garlic or chilies. So, and the next thing I'm going to be doing does require a chili, cutting a green chili. When I cut green chilies, I put gloves on, especially in the winter, because I might have a cracked hand. So this is a green chili that we grew in our garden last year. A lot of respect for chilies. They're very, very pungent and hot. And this is going to be a green mango chutney. So it's going to be a sauce that you can have on the side with your, rice, beans, or wherever else you're having. It's going to make about a couple cups. It's cooked. We cooked this. So we're going to be peeling the mangoes, and I'm going to be adding the chili and some ginger root, and also a little bit of cinnamon for that. So let me get that recipe out. And so first thing I'm going to do is peel the mangoes. So for that, even better, I could use my gloves. Why not? Gets a little sticky. So I'm going to just open the mango up, cutting it around and making 4 slices. So I'm just cutting it around. I'm going to open it up like a leaf. Take the top and just pull it off. So I'm going to pull it away. See? So I'm stripping it away. It smells lovely. I'm going to be putting this into a saucepan, directly into a saucepan. I'm just going to be peeling it and cutting it, because mango has a pretty good sized seed. And mango, of course, is very, very sweet. So this has a sweet quality to it, but it's balanced out with the heat from the ginger root. And also, if you don't want to use a chile, you could use cayenne pepper powder, small amount. So this called for 4 mangoes. I bought 3. Why? I don't know. They weren't quite what I wanted, so I compromised and said I'll just get 3. And I'm going to just take and slice this and get as much of that mango in the pan as I possibly can. I'm going to have a seed that's going to be fairly flat and broad. I won't say that I don't think we can plant mangoes and grow mangoes in New England. So yes, it's true. This is not working with local fruit. This is working with something that's a little more exotic and tropical. I might add a little bit of a blood orange to this. I was thinking about that just as an experiment because it's such a gorgeous color. So what I would do is just give orange, put orange juice in this. So I'm slicing this again and open it up. Yes, nice. This is a nice recipe to try when you're home. If you have a day at home in the winter, it makes the kitchen smell great. It does take some time because we're going to be cooking this on slow heat until everything melts together. We do add some dehydrated cane sugar and cider vinegar. So it has a lot of different tastes to it. It has the pungency of the heat from vinegar. Boy, this is great. So you're going to need a fairly sharp knife for this because it's a little fibrous when you get towards the seed part. You want to get as much of it as you can. Maybe some of you have had mango dishes before, mango with rice. It's a Thai dish that's very, very good. A chicken mango with chicken if you eat chicken. It's wonderful. Okay, so these are big mangoes too. That's another reason why I thought I would just get 3 mangoes. And they've been sitting out for since Monday. So they've been sitting in the warmth of the kitchen. If you're buying something like mangoes or avocado and you want them to ripen slowly, you can always put them in a paper bag and not in the refrigerator. And they'll ripen slowly. So peeling it back. Look at that. It looks like a flower when you peel it back. You could peel it back in different ways. Boy, oh boy. That's getting full. I'll be putting that in the compost in a minute. So this has got a lot of nice fruit on it. This is wonderful. This mango's great. I'll probably save part of those mangoes just for the, adding it to something else a little bit. There's probably little pieces left that I could save. All right. So let me show you this. So there's the mango. Lovely. So I'm going to put this. I'm probably going to be using a heat diffuser because I think it's good to do this on low. We're not going to be doing this on high speed. So the next thing I want to do is cut a little bit of that chili. And this chili was previously frozen, so it's going to be a little juicy. And I'm just going to use a little bit, and then I will save the rest of it, use it for something else. So I'm just going to move that over here, cut this open. And yeah, it does have a lot of liquid in it. I'm going to take I think I'll take a paper towel and just blot it. I have a lot of respect for peppers. Whenever you're cutting a pepper, you really, really want to be cognizant of the fact that this is very, very hot. So I'm just going to take that pepper and put it over on the countertop there. And I'm taking out the seeds, so I'm not really interested in the seeds of this pepper. Let me get rid of that. A few seeds. This is a jalapeno. We've also grown Hungarian wax, which is another hot. There's sweet and there's also hot. We've run both. So I think that's a pretty good amount. I may not want this too hot. I'm going to put that in the chutney. Yeah, maybe just a tiny bit more. Maybe one. There we go. And like I said, I'm going to probably wash this board right after I finish this. There. Because I can even though I'm not near this, I could feel it coming up to my face. So it's pretty seriously hot. And it's oily. So you might want to use a little detergent to just break up the oil from the pepper before I trust the fact that I can put my hand on that. Great. Wonderful. Now I'm gonna peel some ginger. So this calls for a few slices of ginger. A 4-inch piece, it says. This might be a little too dry. I might use another piece. I'm not sure. Oh, I guess it's okay. There we go. Oh, I think I'll just try a fresher piece of ginger. Ginger dries very quickly, and when it does, it's not as great. It's good to use. It's hard to slice, and it's just becoming too old, and you need something fresh. So again, that principle of wanting something fresh and juicy and spicy. This is warming, so we want it not to be an old piece of ginger. I want it to be fresh and full of vitality. So, and even though I'm cutting off probably more than I will be using, I'll find a use for it. Oh yeah, I made some ginger tea this afternoon after I go outside. It's beautiful here today, but it's kind of cool. I think it's in the 20s. May go up to the 30s, I think, which is very nice. That's not cool. If you're dressed for it, it's great to be out. So I'm just slicing these long slices because I think this is just going to cook on the stove for some time, for about an hour. So a little longer than our class. So I'm just picking it up. I'm going to put it in this pot. I haven't turned the heat on yet of this pot. So I've got the ginger, the pepper, and the hot pepper, jalapeno. And I'm going to put in the half a cup of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to stir in the sugar. I want to put in the spices. It's cinnamon, cumin, or coriander. So I'm going to put cinnamon in a little bit. And again, it's just a teaspoon measure. I put a little less in there. I've already got enough heat, and that's heating. But I'm going to put some cumin in. And coriander, they just work so well, synergistically speaking. These cumin and coriander are great. So, my cumin. All right. Just one. And here's the top. has a little protective cover, so your spices will, they'll stay aromatically, they'll stay fresh in this box. It kind of seals, and they also will keep separate, will stay separate. Let's get my spoon. Okay, so I'm going to combine the sugar, which is 3/4 of a cup of cane sugar. This is organic cane sugar. You could use, I'm sure you could use turbinado or not. So we're going to cook this until it gets to a jelly-like consistency, a jam-like. So like I said, this is going to take about an hour. So at 12:30 it will be done. So let's get this going. Yeah, I think I'll put it over here. Bring that down. And I'm gonna leave the cover open. I want to watch it bubble. So I'm just gonna keep my eye on that. But there's really not much, if you have a heat diffuser, you're not gonna worry. It's no big deal. You're not gonna burn anything. You're gonna be right here. So let's just let me get cleaned up. I'm gonna put away some refrigerated items here. It should be put away. Right. Okay. And the secrets of my compost below my sink. I am going to move that out and in for the composter, which is mostly frozen composted vegetable peels right now because, it's winter and we don't have, let's see. And as an experiment, I said I was going to add a couple of it's going to juice a little bit of, why not put in some blood oranges. I think it will taste great. It's giving it a beautiful red color. So I'm just going to add that. That looks good. Great. That to my board. So we just sliced some ginger on that. So that's green mango ginger chutney. And that recipe came from Kate O'Donnell's book on Everyday Ayurveda. I made some changes in it, but basically it's about the same. The next thing I'd like to do is show you the sauce, which requires a little bit of cooking also. Let me get my ingredient for that. All right. So this calls for cauliflower, actually. And this is a recipe from Kripalu Kitchen, I believe, is where I first had it. It's called Buddha sauce, and it's very popular in our family. You can even make it and freeze it in little mason jars, like these size, half pint mason jars, and then thaw it and eat it. You can have it over vegetables or rice or grain. It's just incredibly good. It's quick to make. It's fun. It has a lot of taste in it that are pungent and a little bit of sour. It has lemon in it. And then it has the sweetness of tahini. Tahini is made from sesame seeds. And sesame seeds are inherently sweet, like a lot of seeds. They have a slightly sweet taste. So let me cut this up. This takes about a half a head of cauliflower. When I looked in my fridge today, I saw that I had about a half a head of cauliflower, and I thought, why not make this nice sauce? It will last a week in your fridge, just refrigerated. But like I said, you can freeze some of it and then if you're not going to eat it all at once. But you'll find it's great over roasted vegetables. It's great over a grain like a quinoa or even couscous. It tastes very good as a separate grain. So I'm just going to cut these. I'm going to put them in my double boiler over here. I might as well get that started because I want to get this done. So So sometimes cooking is just what do you have in your fridge, especially during these times when you may not pop off to the store. You may not go off to the store as often as you did before because of the pandemic. But it's nice to be able to get some fresh things, a couple times a week. If you do that, look for the fresh vegetables, look for the organic if you can do that. And that's another important thing. This recipe, we're going to be using a Cuisinart. So I'm just going to be steaming the cauliflower, which has kind of a neutral taste. Cauliflower in and of itself is rather a neutral vegetable. But we're going to be adding some base of the tahini, so it really becomes a tasty vegetable, a tasty, nice sauce. So I've got that pretty much cut the way I want it. And I'm going to put it in my steamer. A couple spots that have gotten a little brown. I want to take them off. All right. Yep. Nice. The thing about cooking is if you have the time, it's very contemplative. You just get to be with your food, and you can think about the people you're going to be feeding, and it's really a good way of putting energy into the food of caring, the energy of love, really. So we're going to put this on the stove. I will use my top saucepan. I'm going to brush that off, move this out. And, I like to clean up as I go. To me, it makes a lot of sense just to get my working area cleaned up. Maybe moving on to something else, and I want to have a little space. So we've done the breakfast cereal, and you can see this is already getting, because I mixed it, because I cut the oats even more than the rolled part. It's getting even softer. So this could be really good in the morning, the next day. So I'm going to put that away. I talked about ghee, but I didn't talk about it a lot. I make my own. And what is ghee? Ghee is an oil. When it's cold, it's solidified, and when it's not, it melts. But it has really good qualities to it in terms of our health, and it can be made by just taking unsalted butter and clarifying it. You put the butter in a saucepan, and you boil the milk solids and the moisture out of the butter, and then you pour it liquid. You pour it into a jar. You filter it. I take a little filter, and I filter it in, and I let it sit, and then I use it throughout my month. I usually make this on a full moon. They say making ghee on a full moon gives it extra potency and energy, and a lot of Ayurvedic medicines have ghee base. For example, Brahmi has, you can get Brahmi for memory, concentration, and when you get the Brahmi pearls, if you order them, they're in the base of ghee, because ghee, we absorb ghee. It's an easy thing to digest, and it really is a good oil. So let's go over to looking at what I've got for the Buddha sauce. I'm going to be using umeboshi vinegar, which is it's made from umi plum, so it's tart. It's used a lot in Japanese cooking. It became very well known when people started to cook macrobiotically. Umeboshi vinegar. I'm going to be using tahini, which is ground sesame seeds. You can make your own tahini, but I bought this tahini. It's organic. And then I'm going to be using a little bit of lemon juice, not a lot, just a tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to be using a few chives. Now, we grew chives and I've got them in the freezer. I'm going to get them out to add to the sauce. I've cut them up and froze them, so I'm using them bit by bit. They're in this, it's nice to have a few condiments around that you made, so these grew in our garden, so they're still, even though they're frozen, I think that they have that native essence of being rather fresh because we grew them. They were sown by our hands. I'm just going to take a little bit out to put in with the Buddha sauce. We just got a few. Oh, it smells good. It's nice pungent smell. I'm going to put that back in the freezer. This should be cooking. You know, cauliflower cooks pretty fast, so I think it should be cooking up pretty fast. I can take a peek. Oh, I'm going to turn down the mango because it's beginning to cook, which is great, and it's got a lovely red sauce to it because I put in a little bit of that blood orange. I think it's going to taste fine. It's too early to tell, but I think, yeah, those spices will calm down and blend in. Right now, I just feel it just tastes like a lot of cinnamon. Almost a little overpowering, but I think when they start combining together, the heat, they'll be great. So, we actually have, I keep this knife in a case because that keeps it from dulling out. If you throw knives in the jar in your drawer, your blades will get dull. So we have I think it broke, but you know, it doesn't matter. It still works. It just secures it and keeps it so that next time I want to use it, you know where it is. And the other knives, I have slots for them. Again, we have a wooden case that we put each knife in a slot, so that really keeps it. This is a serrated knife, so we don't sharpen that one. That one I use that one for cutting fruit. And that was pretty good. And that's about it for that. Put my ginger away. I have a little piece here. I'm going to maybe make some tea. Oops. Right. So we have a couple minutes. Why don't I show you? I found this calendar when I was doing my very minimal Christmas shopping in January. I found a calendar and it's got spices in it. And so January's featuring, those are peppers, long peppers. And it looks like it's featuring chives and goji nuts and let's see, black pepper. So it has a lot of different, each month. I like to be, let's see, there was one month I was looking at, was it April? The April has a lot of different spices. If you can see that, and different ones. Some of them I'm not sure what they are. They look like it. Well, I see fennel here, and I see maybe saffron. I'm really not sure. Here's a great picture of cloves, and then there's a star anise right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little dark in here. It's kind of the way the light is. So it's kind of a fun calendar, and I'm going to have it, probably just keep it for in my kitchen. Here's some whole nutmeg. And you know, you can get nutmeg whole and just grate it. Take a little tiny, we have a tiny little grater. Really small, and I could just grate a little nutmeg over, if you like to eat grapefruit, if you put a little nutmeg over the grapefruit after you slice it and a little bit drizzle a little honey, it gives it a wonderful taste. So anyways, that's my, it says it's a 16-month calendar. 2021. I guess 2020 wasn't a great year to buy appointment books, but 2021 probably was. So this, I could get this set up for the Cuisinart. Let me just, still working on that. So my Cuisinart's over here. I'm just gonna maybe turn you a little bit so you can see. There you go. How are we doing here? My goodness, that's really cooking up. That can slow down, which is fine. There we go. I'm pushing the broccoli, trying to get that done. I mean, excuse me, the cauliflower, trying to get that done. So I'm going to take a half a cup of tahini. Here's my half cup. Here it is. No, that's a third. Oh, here's the half cup. It's always good to know where your things are. All right. All right. So tahini naturally separates. I had this turned upside down so that it would begin to coalesce. But I'm going to stir it because I don't want, I can see the oils in the bottom and I don't want to have just, dry tahini sauce on the top. It's almost like I could have reversed it again. So yeah, we've got a little bit of work to do here to get this tahini to come down, and it's kind of hard to stir in a jar, but I don't like to take it out. There's no point. I think it's going to come down. Yep, here it goes. Sink it and start to stir it to mix the oil with mix up the tahini. Nice. Yep. You don't have to refrigerate tahini at all, provided you use it up, in a timely fashion. You don't want it to go rancid, but really refrigerating it just makes it even harder to stir it up. And there's a lot of benefits to sesame seeds. I believe, there are a lot of good, I was just thinking iron, but I'm not sure about that. Doesn't say. Well, anyways. So I'm just going to twirl this around a little more. This is just a teaspoon I'm using. And it's a silver one, so I want to make sure I don't bend it. It's whatever I grabbed that I had. Whatever I had that I grabbed, rather. I'm reversing my sentences here. All right. Nice. So it's getting smoother. I've used tahini in baking. Made some tahini chocolate cookies. They were very good. I've used it just, people associate it with just using it plain, but it does add a lot. When I make a turmeric sauce, we use tahini in that also. It's a very good, delicious sauce. Maybe we'll make that sometime with a turmeric. It's golden color. It's gorgeous and it tastes wonderful. Again, it's a good thing for to have all the vegetables, fruits. So I'm going to put that, even though it is a little lumpy, I'm going to put that in there. I think I'm good. Yeah, that's great. Look at that. My towel's red from the blood orange. That's amazing. They're just great. The other orange that's really not out, now that's really nice is the Cara Cara. They're all from California. All right, so I'm gonna put my tahini right in there. Scrape it out. That's a half a cup. I'm going to add the umeboshi. Oh, there it comes. This is 1.5 tablespoons. It's a little too much. And lemon juice. 1.5 tablespoons. I'll save the rest. Good to drink it with hot water. It's very cleansing, especially in the morning. So we'll put this in the liquid. I might add a few flakes of black pepper to this. It just gives it a little heat, little heat. It's very good. I'm going to put the chives in now. No, why not? Right? They've already thawed. They were frozen. Thawed. My black pepper. Where are you? Well, sometimes we have to go around this twice. Oh yeah, there it is. Take that out. Now let's check the. Oh yeah, that's good. Those are good. So I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna turn. I'll show you the mango chutney is beginning to boil, so it's looking lovely, boiling up, and that's gonna simmer. I want that to simmer now. So I turned it way down, turned it down to the lowest mark. So this is gonna take the tahini, the cauliflower, but it also is gonna need a little water. So I'm saving the water here, because this has got some nutrients in it. I'm saving yeah. I'm saving that water. Whoa. So I'm gonna start the Cuisinart. I'm gonna pour in a little water in the pot. Right, now I'm ready to scrape it out. Let me, I'm gonna hold that blade, because the blade, you know, there's a blade in here that's just loose. It's gonna come out if it wants to pop out on us. Yes, we have a few more minutes. I want to show this to you. Buddha sauce has become the cauliflower and the tahini together have made up the Buddha sauce. So we have a breakfast, quick breakfast cereal, a sauce for whatever vegetables you want for your lunch, and the winter chutney. So thank you very much, and happy eating, and make your noon meal your largest meal. Thank you. Bye.